Good morning. Can we give a round of applause to Willie Wolverine as a thank you? Thank you. We appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks. Thanks. Okay. Is this on? Can you guys hear me? Okay. We are going to go ahead and if you'll just Barney Nye, he is the AVP of my department, all this big long title, you know. He'll go ahead and do a welcome, and then we have a special treat for you after his welcome.
Good morning, Prep. Welcome to Utah Valley University. This is for me the official start of summer, so welcome to summer and congratulations, you all made it. Well done. As we get started this morning, I just wanted to offer an official welcome from me. I'm the Barney Nye, Associate Vice President for Grants, Outreach, and Partnerships here at UVU, and I am so excited. This is my favorite day of the year. All the summer programs start, all the students show up. You bring this campus to life in the summertime, and I love, love, love that you are here. By round of applause, where are our third-year students? Nice, third-year students. Where are our second-year students? Nice, nice, nice. And where are our first-year students? Nice. Well, first-year students, I have you may be a little wondering what this is all going to be about this summer. It's going to be a great summer. You're going to probably work really, really hard and learn a whole lot. And so I want to welcome you for the first time to Utah Valley University, and along with everybody else, say welcome, and that you're all going to spend this summer. I know you're all coming from different schools all over the place, but for this summer, you're all Wolverines. So congratulations on being a Wolverine. First-year students, second-year students, and third-year students already know they're Wolverines every summer of their life. Third-year students and second-year students, look at the first-year students. Make friends with the first-year students. Make sure that they feel welcome. You all know what's going to happen this summer. You have seen this before. Third-year students, is prep easy? Yeah. See? Mixed reviews. Yes, no. That's good. That's good. Some said yes, some said no. That means it's just right. You're going to stretch a little bit this summer. You're going to learn a whole lot this summer. You're going to be able to see amazing things within our community. You're going to do crazy fun stuff with, I don't know, probably rockets and probably all kinds of stuff like that. But this is all an opportunity. And I want you to remember this. This is an amazing opportunity for you. Not everybody gets to do this. And you are all in this room not by accident. You are all in this room because you, A, applied. But B, in your applications, we saw so much potential in each one of you. All of you have amazing potential to go to college, to have amazing careers. You're all brilliant in really, really meaningful ways. And I want you to remember that about yourselves. Even when it's hard. Sometimes when it's hard, it's the best time to remember that you're amazing with some of this stuff. It will stretch you in ways you never thought you would, and you'll come out on the other side with a new appreciation of what hard work means, but also a new appreciation of what it means for you to stretch and what it means for you to try new things and think in new ways. That's a skill for life. We all need to think in new ways, and we need to think about things in different ways throughout our lives. That's what lifelong learning is about. That's what we do here at the university. That's what I do. That's what the team here does. All of the faculty here, they're all lifelong learners. They're all looking to expand their minds, change their creativity, see things in new ways. If we all see things in the same way forevermore, nothing changes. Nothing gets better. So we want you to tap into your own creativity, your own experiences, and think about things that you've experienced in your life or at school or elsewhere. Bring that into the classrooms, bring that into the activities, because it's going to help you the whole way through. And I am just, like I say, this is the official beginning of summer here at UVU. There's going to be way more of you probably, at least visibly on campus, than there will be college students here on campus, which is great. I want you to settle in. It's important that you try and feel comfortable here on campus. It's important to understand how to learn to feel comfortable on a college campus, because that's going to make you a successful college student too. Settle in. We're all here to help this make this a meaningful experience for you. We're all here to make sure that you settle in, you treat this campus like you are a Wolverine. We have students every day on this campus who are Wolverines and treat this campus like they're Wolverines. They feel at home here. They have found a place of belonging here, and we hope you all find that here too this summer. So welcome, welcome, welcome on behalf of myself and my division, and go prep. So I'm told we have a special visitor today, and I don't know how to make any of this work, so I'm just going to stall until I see it happening. This visitor comes in from far, far away this morning. She took time out of her schedule because she is very busy. She's currently, I don't know where she is in the world, but she isn't here. President Tuminez will be joining us virtually from wherever she is in the world. She's having what's called a sabbatical this summer. So there she is. She's off studying and learning and expanding her own mind and her own creativity and thinking in new ways this summer. And so we are so excited to have President Tuminez with us. And President, it's over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Barney Nye. Good morning, preppers. How are you? I can't see your faces. I can only see the backs of your heads, so I'll just pretend that you have eyes. All right, I can see your faces. That is wonderful. I'm going to share some pictures, and I just want to say that I'm really, really delighted to be part of this today. Now I can still see a few of you. I can still see it. Can you see my pictures? All right, there you go. So I will show some pictures, but I am in Singapore. Raise your hand if you've been to Singapore. I can see you guys raise your hands. Okay, that's not my son, is it? So I am in Singapore, where I am on presidential leave. I am writing a book. Singapore is in Southeast Asia, and you may not know where that is, but it's very far from the United States. There's no winter here. It's hot year-round, and I used to live here. I lived here for 10 years. And the hotel that you see in this picture on the left side that looks like it has a rocket ship on top, that's a pretty famous hotel called Marina Bay Sands. And the thing that looks like a flower with petals over there down below, that's a museum. That's the Art Science Museum in Singapore. This is a tiny, tiny island, and there are 5.5 million people here. Way more people than there are in the entire state of Utah. And I believe there's a prepper among you who was born here in Singapore. He may or may not be related to me. He may have some kind of a secret identity. I'm not going to out him, but this is this baby here, and he is a second-year UVU prep student. So I hope he forgives me for showing this picture. Welcome to the best summer program in Utah. You are some of the very best students in Utah. And if I were there in person, I know I would feel all the energy in the room. And even though I'm thousands of miles away, I still feel the energy. And I want to say a special welcome to the first years and a big welcome to the second and third years, because part of life is showing up every day, every month, every year for programs like this, so that you can make the most of it. And as a rule today during my presentation, I'm going to talk about some advice for life and careers. And maybe you think you're too young to think about a career, but it is never too early to think about what you want to be, because whether you like it or not, guys, you're going to grow up. And it's great to find something that you love to do, that makes a difference in people's lives, that helps you earn money so you can support yourself and your family. And so I will talk about a little bit about my life and my career today. Now, one rule is you can interrupt me anytime. I have my presidential intern, Isaac. Could you wave to everybody so they know who you are? Isaac is going to be there. And anytime you want to interrupt me, I will not think at all that it's rude or distracting. Just do it, okay? If I say something you don't understand, interrupt me and ask a question. Is that good with everyone? Can you say yes? All right, I can't hear anyone, but I assume everyone is good with that. Now, I think that UVU Prep is one of my secret magical powers. What I mean by that is I get so much energy from you guys, and all of these thank you notes I've gotten from UVU Prep students over the years. When I'm having a bad day, I keep them all near my desk. I just read these notes, and I already feel good right away. So thank you to all of you for your enthusiasm and so much love that I've felt from all the preppers over the years. Okay, so I am the president of UVU, and I've been president of UVU for almost 5 years. It's a big job because we have more than 43,000 students and a lot of professors and employees, thousands of professors and employees. It's a very large university. And before I became a university president, of course, I had a very different life. I actually came from this village in the Philippines called Pali. And that is the husband of my second cousin there, plowing the field in the village where I was born. They don't have any machinery, so they still use a water buffalo to plow the field. So I was born in this village, literally with nothing, in a hut that you see here on the right side, made of bamboo and grass roof, and we had nothing. When I was 2 years old, my mother moved her family. She had 6 children at that point. She moved us to this neighborhood in the city. And you might say to yourself, wow, that's not a very nice looking neighborhood. But I have to tell you, this neighborhood was an improvement from this neighborhood. And it is an improvement because in this neighborhood, this is the city. And so in the city, you have a lot more people, you have a lot more schools. So my siblings and I, even though we lived in one of these houses here, it's a hut on stilts in the water. And my father made less than $50 a month. So you can imagine what that was like. There wasn't electricity, there was no radio or books or television or food or good clothes. There was really barely anything, but we made it work. And the most important thing was we got an education. So you might ask yourselves, how did President Tumines go from this hut? I'm right there with my face in my hands. And for the second year and third year preppers, you may remember these pictures. So let me tell you a little bit about what helped me as I grew up, as I studied, and as I worked, so that eventually I came from this hut here to the presidency of Utah Valley University. So the first lesson that I want to share with you is to dream. It is so important that you think to yourself, now, what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up? If your mom's a doctor and you find that exciting, maybe you say to yourself, I really want to be a doctor. Or if your dad is a professional soccer player, you say, well, I really want to play soccer. Or you read about people in books, or you hear about them, and you say to yourself, okay, I really want to do that. So it's important to dream. And even though all your dreams won't come true, the most important thing is to keep dreaming. Dreams are free. As long as you are alive, you have to keep your dreams alive. And when I was little, I used to dream that someday I would travel the world and live in a house with electricity and running water. and that I dreamt about going to New York City and working for the United Nations. And I did that. I did all of that. Okay. But it began with the fact that first I dreamt. It was all in my head. So things begin in our heads. And my mother, even though she also grew up in a really remote village in the Philippines, she was a woman with a lot of dreams. She didn't want to be a peasant farmer. She didn't want to be a fisherwoman. She wanted a better life for herself and her children. And she was really a driver of dreams in my family. So I got that from her. So preppers, have big dreams. Don't be afraid to dream. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't have a big dream. One of the women I admire is Grace Brewster Murray Hopper. Every year, there's a very big conference in technology called the Grace Hopper Conference. And she joined the Navy when she was relatively old, but she got a PhD in mathematics from Yale. She was one of the first people in the world to do computer programming and software development. The Mark I computer that you see in the middle of the picture here, this is how big computers used to be. This was one of the earliest computers, and this probably had less power, way, way less power than your mobile phone. And I saw this computer on display at Harvard University, and Grace Hopper actually helped to program this computer. But she had dreams, and even when she was in her 70s and 80s, she would say things like, I am just beginning. So she was never done. So that is my first advice to you. My second piece of advice is take your learning seriously. So whether you're a rising 7th, 8th, or 9th grader, it doesn't matter. You do your homework because you want to learn. Don't do it for your mom or your dad or your teacher, although they could all be really helpful to you. So when I was growing up in that Nipa hut, some Catholic nuns, they found my family and they gave us a chance to go to their school for free. But once they opened the door for me, I had to work really hard because I didn't know my ABCs or my numbers. I had to work super hard. That's what I mean by taking education seriously. People can open doors for you. You can be a UVU prep. But if you don't want to take your lessons seriously, nobody can really help you. So enjoy it. Say every day, I want to learn. I want to do better. It's because of these nuns and the fact that I took my education seriously that later on, I was able to get a scholarship to the University of the Philippines, and then I was able to attend Brigham Young University. Can you guys still hear me? Okay, awesome, because suddenly my internet here started like fading. Okay, so the education, I mean, because I owned it, I was in charge of my education, it gave me a lot of value in my life. And I got a scholarship, like I said, to the University of the Philippines. It was the first time in my life that I had money. I never had money until then. And suddenly, you know, I had a little bit of money that the government gave me so that I could go to school. And I went to Brigham Young University. And then later, I went to Harvard and MIT. And you guys all know about Harvard probably, or you've heard about these big universities. Guess how much I paid for my education, guys? Zero. Normally, it costs a lot of money to go to Harvard. You have to pay like $60,000 a year. And Harvard and MIT actually paid me to go to school. So if you do really well, if you own your education, other people will pay you to go to their school. Education is lifelong. If you're 12 or 13 or 14 or 15, you are just barely getting started. There is so much about the world to know and to discover. Okay, so moving on, lesson 3. Are there any questions at this point? Anybody wants to interrupt me? No interruptions? Okay, I'll carry on. Do you all know this book? Dr. Seuss, Green Eggs and Ham. Another really good lesson for me, thank you for raising your hands, is to try green eggs and ham. If you remember, Sam I am didn't want to try green eggs and ham, didn't want to try them on the train or in the rain, etc. But finally, when he tried it, he liked it. And so sometimes in life we think, I don't like math, or oh, I don't like dancing, or I hate camping, or oh, I don't read books. Whatever it is that we don't like, whatever it is that scares us, or I don't like talking to people. I don't want to make new friends, or I don't want to learn a foreign language. Those are all green eggs and ham. And in life, we need to try some of these green eggs and ham. So one of the green eggs and ham of my life was after I had been married 3 years, I was offered a job to work in the former Soviet Union. That's a country that no longer exists. It was a communist country and it fell apart. And my husband was working in New York City. We had no children. And everybody said to me, don't go to the Soviet Union. You will leave your husband in New York. That's a terrible thing. It's like green eggs and ham. I may not like it. But I negotiated with Harvard University. I said, I'll go to the Soviet Union and work there. But as long as I could visit my husband in New York every other month, I'll be okay. I negotiated that with them. Because I took that job, it was a big, bad job. It was green eggs and ham. And I had to live in a country that was falling apart. Sometimes there was no gasoline. Sometimes there was no paper. All sorts of crazy things happened. But I got to work with President Mikhail Gorbachev. When you're older, you might know about this man. He was the president of the Soviet Union. I got to write a book about Russian nationalism. I got to go to the White House and I met the First Lady, Hillary Clinton. I got to do so many exciting things. And this job introduced me to so many people that gave me all my other jobs later on. So when you try green eggs and ham, you might actually discover that amazing things could happen to you. And throughout my life, I've always said yes to exciting things, even if I didn't know how to do them. I worked on Wall Street in finance, even though I had no background in finance. I was just saying yes to green eggs and ham. I lived in New York City for 14 years. So when something scares you, or you think, I don't know that, it scares me, it makes me feel uncomfortable, it doesn't hurt to try it anyway. Because the worst thing that could happen to you may be that you may not like it. And I worked in technology. I worked for a company called Microsoft for 6 years. I knew nothing about technology. I was not a techie, but I was able to do really cool things like work on this boat here that would go along the coast of a country named Vietnam. And we would use the boat. We funded this, and minority people, tribal peoples could get on this boat and learn about computers and programming and educate themselves. So you get to do exciting things. But it all starts with saying yes to the things that might make you uncomfortable, okay? So lesson 4, find mentors who believe in you. A mentor is somebody who cares about you, and you may have teachers or good mentors. This is my 6th grade teacher on the left. The middle person is the nun who found my family and invited us to go to school. And the person on the right was my teacher in 1st grade. She taught me to read and write because I didn't know how to read. I didn't know my alphabet. These are the people who taught me. They believed in me. They were patient with me. And they opened so many doors for me. I also grew up because I had so many siblings. I grew up in a family of mentors. Even though my parents did not go to college, they were smart and taught me good values and good habits. and my older siblings did the same. At UVU, we really value mentorship. This is our student, Kate Hickman, who has 3 degrees from UVU, and she's about to start a PhD program at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, MIT. If you watched Spider-Man, I think that's where he was going to go to school, MIT. So Kate, when she announced that she was going to MIT, she actually thanked 2 of her professors, Eddie Cadet and Jeffrey Zahn at UVU. UVU is really good at mentoring. And so someday if you look for mentors and you want to find a university that mentors students, UVU is one of those. This is Pedro Del Valle, another one of our students who got great mentoring. Pedro didn't even think college was for him. He grew up in a family where his brothers would sell fake goods and they would get arrested. And Pedro didn't know there was such a thing called university. But he found UVU, and this summer, he's working at a research laboratory at Harvard Medical School, along with other students from UVU. So these are students who were mentored. So find your mentors. And my last lesson, after which I hope you'll ask me some questions, is in life is hard. It is both easy and hard. And working is easy and hard. Going to college is easy and hard. You need to sustain your energy, especially when it gets hard. And even UVU prep, there are days you don't want to do it. There are days you want to give up. So you have to ask yourself, hey, what gives me energy? And for me, it's eating chocolate and exercising and spending time with my family, my children, my husband. They're a lot of fun, and they also give me a really hard time, but they replenish my energy. I dance, I read books. So in life and in careers, know how to replenish your energy because you will need it. Remember that UVU is a place for you. We really mean this. You are all so welcome at this wonderful university. The world is also a place for you. You are rising 7th, 8th, and 9th graders. You have a massive runway. If you were a plane, you have a massive runway in front of you to taxi and then to take off and fly off into the world and do whatever you want to do, to be happy, to be productive, to fulfill your dreams. So thank you for coming to UVU. And this is the end of my presentation, and I do want you guys to ask questions. So I'll stop sharing my PowerPoint, and I have a few minutes. If you want to ask me any questions, I'll try to answer them the best that I can.
We got one question, President.
Okay, go ahead. Tell me your name and then say your question into the microphone. Is it a 3rd year prepper?
No, this is a 2nd year prepper.
All right, we like you also. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Amanda Garcia. I have a question. How many jobs have you worked at in total in your lifetime?
Okay, really good question. I am so old. I am like as old as Methuselah. I'm like 300 years old. My first job was with Harvard University. That was only my full-time jobs, not my part-time. But my very first job was when I was 15 or 16. I was a secretary for a Freon company in Manila. That's a company that sells Freon for refrigerators. And then my first big job was really Harvard University. And after Harvard, I worked for Carnegie Corporation of New York, which is a philanthropic organization that gives away money for research. It was started by Andrew Carnegie, who was the richest man in the world in his time, like richer than Elon Musk today. After philanthropy, I worked on Wall Street because I wanted to understand money, how money worked, how markets worked. Not a market where you sell goods, but like financial markets. And so I worked on Wall Street, and then I also worked in biotechnology as a venture capitalist. That means people who invest in young companies that are developing drugs to cure cancer or diabetes, or developing new medical devices, new ways to manufacture drugs, and so on. And then after that job, I worked in the southern Philippines in a peace process between the Muslims of the Philippines and the government, because they were fighting and a lot of people have died from that war. And so I worked there to help with a peace process and a peace agreement. And then after that, what did I do after that? I moved to Singapore and worked as a vice dean for research at the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy. And then I worked for Microsoft, a tech company, where I oversaw lawyers and government affairs people that were supporting 15 different countries. And then I came to Utah. So I don't know, I think I have a little bit of ADHD, but I've had a lot of jobs and I've enjoyed every single one of them. And I've learned a lot from every single one of them.
My name is Brady.
Hi, Brady.
My question is, after all this time for you, has it been like, when you felt like giving up and you needed something to help you keep going, like some of these big choices you made, what was helping you like fuel those choices? What gave you, what told you just to make these choices that would be super hard, going somewhere you don't even really know about?
Very good question, Brady. So I have definitely been through many hard times. Nobody is exempt from hard times. And I sit with my dark feelings. I sit with my sadness. I sit with my confusion. I cry when I have to cry. And then after I've cried a lot and I'm confused, sometimes I'll like start dancing, because dancing always makes me feel good. And, you know, I go out sometimes and I just look at leaves and grass and trees and flowers and pebbles. These things in nature help me to calm down. And then after I've calmed down, but remember, I sit with my dark feelings first. I don't deny them. And then I have to ask myself, I talk to myself sometimes out loud, and I say to myself, hey, Astrid, what's wrong? And then I will write things down. I keep a journal, or I just write things down. What is making me so unhappy? And if it's a job making me unhappy, I will tell myself, I'll do this for another 6 months. Just a job. It's not a prison sentence. It's not a death sentence. And I try to be practical. And I ask myself, what are my options? You know? And other things are harder. Sometimes I've gone to a counselor to help me to work out my feelings. But the most important thing is I listen to my gut. I pray a lot. I pray all the time. Sometimes I pray out loud, and my kids tease me about it. But I always trust my instinct. And if I make mistake, it's okay. Not all my decisions are perfect. And I have to forgive myself when I make mistakes. So I hope that's helpful. And I celebrate when I have made the right decisions. I always know when my decisions are good because I don't feel nauseated. If something is a bad decision, I usually don't feel good at all in my stomach. And By the way, even if the decisions you make are not 100% perfect, it's okay. You can always change your mind. It's so important to just ask yourself, after a bad decision, what did you learn? And what mistake will you never do again? So, yeah, so Brady, in life, it never ends. You will have bad decisions, you will have confusion, you will have difficulties, but that's half the fun of life. We learn a lot from these things.
Okay, so my name's Celeste, and I was wondering, out of all the jobs that you've done, has there been a job that you regret doing, or is there one that you think was a mistake?
Thank you, Celeste. So the two jobs that I regretted at first, the first one was Wall Street. So Wall Street is all male. Like I was one of very few women, and it's very tough. People are very, very competitive, and I really had no understanding of finance. In fact, I had to take a lot of classes. But I have a rule in life that when I accept a job, if it's paying me well and I respect the people I'm with, that I would never give up before 6 months. And sure enough, because I didn't give up, after 6 months, I learned so many things and I got good at it. And it was the same thing when I joined Microsoft. I mentioned earlier that I wasn't a techie. And even though I was the boss of many people, I was the boss of many lawyers, and I am not a lawyer. And they would throw out words I didn't understand. I felt really stupid in meetings. And I remember one day, walking home to the car from the office with my husband, and I just started crying. And I said, I'm so stupid. Why did I take this job? But again, I have that rule. I have to stick with it for 6 months. And so I did. And after 6 months, I was loving it. And I learned so much and I grew so much. And in fact, the job, I think, helped prepare me to be a solid university president, because when COVID happened, we had to do a lot of digital and technological transformation. And I have an understanding of things like cybersecurity, cybercrime. So I could use all of those things that I learned in technology to be a good president. Yeah, so those were the two jobs that were the hardest for me. Remember, I didn't study technology or numbers. I studied Russian literature when I was a college student. And I studied political science. I have a PhD in political science. Those fields are so different. They're so different. But I think if we are curious, we can definitely learn new things. And we will surprise ourselves with the things that we thought we couldn't do. But actually, at the end of the day, we can. We develop superpowers.
My name's Ben. I was just wondering where you are in the world right now.
Singapore, Ben.
Oh, yeah,
Remember I showed you a picture at the
stupid.
beginning?
Never mind.
So to get here, I had to fly to LA.
My second
And then
question.
from LA.
My second question was if you could show us the actual background of your thing, because I wanted to see that.
Well, it is 11:17 in the evening right now, and I am in a bedroom, so there isn't a whole lot to see. Let me see if I could look out the window. Yeah, there
We'll
is
take
something
one
maybe
last
out the
question for
window.
now.
Let's
Yeah.
see. Do you see the wind? Do you see out there? Yeah, you can see the water and the lights in the distance. But I will tell you, kids, if you could, if you, sorry, I can't hear what people are saying, but if you could visit one country someday, please visit Singapore. It's the most amazing little island in the world. But to get here, I had to fly like more than 20 hours. It's very far. It's in Asia. And the people here are mainly Chinese, but also Indian and Malay. Malay like me. I'm a Malay. And there are many, many foreigners who live here as well. There are over 1 million foreigners here. And they do all sorts of jobs, from construction worker, domestic helper, to, you know, CEOs of large companies. And it's super hot here. There are no seasons. There's only hot and hotter. And if you walk outside, you start sweating, you just start losing weight. You just become a puddle of sweat.
Hi, my name is Carla, and my question is, would you say that going to multiple schools would give you more of an opportunity to do better in life?
It depends. It depends. Some people go only to one school, and that's okay. Some people go to multiple schools. But you have to go to the school that best fits your needs. So don't force yourself. I have a daughter who went to Columbia University in New York. Columbia is one of the hardest universities to get into, and it's very, very expensive. It costs like $75,000 a year. And my daughter hated it. She hated it. So she dropped out after one semester, and she actually did her degree at UVU, and she loved it. And she is now a Wolverine. So you have to go to the university that best fits your needs. I would also encourage you, whatever university you go to expect a lot of yourself and really get to know the professors. The professors are so important, because if they get to know you, they can write you a great letter of recommendation if you want to go to Harvard or MIT. And they can also give you good references for a job. So really get to know your professors. So whether you go to just one or several universities, for me, I went to several universities because I was doing different graduate programs. So I did a master's degree, and then I did a PhD. And I went to BYU because I'm LDS, and I already had sisters living in Utah. So that just made it easy for me to apply to BYU, where I already knew I had family members, so I wouldn't be alone. So pick a great university and just, make the most of it by getting to know your professors, do your homework, and all of that. So I hope that answered your question.
Thank you so much for taking time late at night to talk to the prep students. Can we turn around and just give her a round of applause for a minute?
Yeah, I can see all of you. Well, thank you guys. Have a great summer. And I will see the first years and second years. I will see
we're not going to
let you in person.
We're not going to let you go yet.
Thank you.
Hang on. We're not letting you go yet.
I'm going to hang up now. Thank you, everyone.
No.
President.
Yes?
We'd like to do a group shot with you. Do you mind staying on the?
Sure.
I need everybody to stand up where you are, and turn around and look at me back here. Now, everybody from the halfway mark down, I need you to sit on the arm of your chair. Everybody clear down there at the bottom, stay standing up. But if you're from halfway up, sit on the arm of your chair so you get down lower. Does that make sense?
How about sit on the seat of their chair?
Sit on the seat. Just trying to sit halfway, turn this way.
Sit on the seat of your chair.
All right, we got to do this quick. Isaac, can you come take this? All right, everybody ready? Looking right up at the count. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Woo!
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, if you would sit back down. Thank you so much. I guess I wave that way. Thanks.
Thank you, Liz. I'm going to hang up now. Thank you, everybody, for the support this morning. Bye-bye.